Well, I wasn't going to do a show tonight, but I decided to do one anyway. So if you look back on last year, it may be a good idea to contemplate how your life is today, reflecting on what you did this year to make your life the way it is today. If you like the way your life is today, and if you don't like the way your life is today. Because every thought, every action that you made every day of this year brought you to this point. And as I said, if you like where you are, that's good. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you don't like where you are, you need to change something. And the thing you need to change first is your thinking. Because every action is preceded by a thought. So that's all I have to say about that. Now I'm thinking about Tate. Regardless of whether you believe he's innocent or guilty, the message doesn't change. So if you like this message, don't negate the message because of what you think the messenger might be doing. And I'll tell you something. I've lived 62 years and I've lived long enough to know that everyone who's charged with a crime is not guilty. And to go even further than that, everyone who is proven guilty of a crime is not guilty. In life, you learn, well, there's an old saying, you can't fight City Hall. I tried that to no avail, and that's why I had to leave the country for 6 years, to avoid false arrest. Well, I had false accusations and I was going to be arrested. I was out of the country for 6 years. I've told this story before, but you'd have to read the book, Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels, if you want to get all the details. But the bottom line is, when you embarrass or when you stand up or when you have an agenda that opposes the people in power, the people with power can destroy you or shut you down. In my case, my rights and my children's rights were being encroached upon, and I fought back, and I got it on the local social media, which at that time was just the news. They ran 3 stories on the local news in St. Louis. And I got my daughter back because they had taken her from me. They released my daughter because of that. But the attorney I had at the time said, you punched a tiger in the eye. But I, feeling like Tate, I was willing to punch a tiger in the eye because I was a fighter. Later on, we were in court against these same people, and I had the evidence to prove that the accusations against me were false. And the judge, the juvenile office, and the Division of Family Services were all in cahoots together, for lack of a better way to say it. And my attorney was arguing with the judge, yelling at him, telling him, you're not going to follow the law? The judge wouldn't answer. My attorney yelled at him 3 times. Before that, the judge asked him, as my attorney was interrogating or questioning the GAL in the case, the judge stopped my attorney and asked him, how do you know these things? And my attorney, being an old Jewish lawyer and a smart aleck, one of the best in St. Louis, smart ass, said, I don't have to be at the ball game to know what the score is. Well, what had happened was the GAL had interrogated my daughter viciously to where my daughter was hiding under the table, crying the whole time. But they didn't know that I had my daughter wired. So it was all recorded. We were not allowed to present that evidence. And so they took my daughter away from me again, because I would not take her back to the very room where she was traumatized before. I brought her to the GALs as I was ordered to by the court, but the GAL wanted me to take her back in the room where she was going to interrogate her again, I suppose, that she had done the week before, and I wouldn't do it. I said, I brought her here, you'll have to take her back there. I didn't even want to take her there as a father, of course. So, but that's just a small portion of the story. Then after that, the judge made an order. They took my daughter again. I went back to court to get her back. And I had that evidence, but we never were allowed to present it. The judge would not follow the law. And my attorney told me then, they're going to be after you. So that was in like April. So I got all the passports for the kids. And about 6 months later, they come calling for me, the police did. And I was accused of another crime I didn't commit. Just like I was accused of choking my daughter, which I didn't do. And during that interrogation, my daughter told them and yelled at them and said, "My daddy didn't choke me, you tricked me." My daughter was 6 years old. She screamed that at the GAL because I didn't choke her. So I can understand things that maybe a lot of people don't understand. So just because Tate is accused of doing something doesn't mean he did it. Now, honestly, I don't know whether he did or whether he didn't, but I know that if certain people in a power position want him to be guilty, he will be guilty. He will be tried and proven guilty by the law. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. I experienced that here on a lower level. And that's just the way it works for you people who think that, well, if you get a good lawyer and if you got enough money, the truth and justice does not always win out, especially in the court system. Now, today I've made peace with all those people. I made them an enemy, just like Tate has made many people with a lot of power an enemy, and now they've come for him. I did the same thing, except on a lower level. I don't have a pair big enough to do what Tate did, even if I had the platform. When I watched him as he has been doing this for the last 6 months or whatever, when he really blew up after they banned him, I knew that I admire him for what he's doing. I do, because that's what I tried to do, or I did here. Like I said, on a much lower level. I'm not comparing myself to Tate in that respect. But he knew what was going to happen. I knew what was going to happen. And it doesn't matter if he did anything wrong or not. They will make something up to get rid of him, because you cannot stand up against the powers that be like that. The only reason some people are able to do it is because they're involved heavily in the governments. I mean, let's say Trump, for example. Whether you're a Trump fan or not, he was able to call people out because he's got a lot of ties with a lot of powerful people. But look how they went after him. But they weren't able to prove anything against him. Now with Tate, I'm not sure if he's going to get out of this or not. 30 days in jail. And part of the charges is the lover boy law. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, and I'm not real familiar with that. But what that is like, they say he took these girls in under the assumption that they were going to have a marriage and a relationship with him. And then he got them to do videos, and I didn't put the dogs up. He got them to do videos, and they made money off, and he made money. But the deal, what they're saying is this lover boy law, it's like if a guy goes out with a girl and he leads her to believe that he loves her and he's going to marry her, and then he has sex with her, they can come back and say that he raped her. There's no accountability here. A woman can say anything about a man, such as, I'm not supposed to say that word, I forgot. Well, I better be quiet then. See, you can't even say certain things on YouTube either. But maybe I'll bleep that out. But it's live, I can't do that. So I'm gonna stop with that. You get the drift, what's going on here. But hopefully he won't be in there for long, and hopefully somehow he will be able to get out of this. So that's it. I wish you guys a very happy new year. Make this year the best there ever has been. And begin that by thinking different thoughts, then you'll take different actions. Take care.